Hello everyone and welcome to my CS24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island. The results are revealed for scientific analysis of gold found at Money Pit. On this week's The Curse of Oak Island, the team had a piece of gold found at the Money Pit analyzed by chemists at a laboratory, and the results were very promising. Last night's episode was difficult to watch in some places as, much to the team's frustration, Nova Scotia's Department of Communities, Culture and Heritage ordered them to shut down operations in the swamp area. Follow the link to read about that situation. However, there were also many positives to last night's show, and one of those centered around a small piece of metal. The metal piece in question was found a week ago at a depth of approximately 90 feet in the D2 borehole in the Money Pit area. The guys put it into their new XRF machine, which suggested it contained some gold. This obviously caused great excitement and led to the team wanting to find out more. With that in mind, Marty Lagina, Craig Tester, and treasure hunting veteran Dan Hensky took the mysterious piece of metal to expert chemist Dr. Krista Brousseau at her laboratory in Nova Scotia's St. Mary's University. Metal composition determined Oak Island team's focus for the year. Marty left Brousseau and us viewers in doubt as to how important these results would be. He said, "What happens here today influences what we do for the rest of the year." Brousseau's colleague, Dr. Xiangyang, fed the piece into a scanning electron microscope, which uses a beam of electrons to magnify the metal's features to get a clearer picture of its chemical composition. The first bit of news revealed an absence of manganese in the iron, which dated the piece to before the 1840s. Yang then upped the tension by identifying some pyrite, aka fool's gold. But as a few more tense moments passed by, he eventually came up with the goods and found some actual proper gold. Within that piece, they found gold at about 65%, copper at approximately 26%, and a small amount of silver. Brousseau explained that it was likely what's known as rose gold, which was often used to create rose-colored jewelry, particularly in 19th century Russia. However, the practice dates back to the Middle Ages. Is the Oak Island metal Tambaga gold, or rose gold? Later in the episode, an excited Marty reported these findings to his brother, Rick, and the rest of the team, and he had another theory about the gold. He had been examining the chemical composition of Tambaga gold and found that it was also similar to their piece. Tambaga gold might be even more exciting than rose gold because this was the name given by Spanish conquistadors to the gold made by the Aztecs and Incas in Central and South America. One Oak Island theory has long speculated that the conquistadors may have buried treasure plundered from the indigenous peoples and buried it on the island. The prospect of ancient Spanish or Aztec gold obviously caused the guys maximum excitement, and they agreed that they need to place a 10-foot steel caisson shaft over the D2 borehole and try to dig up any more treasure. Under the windswept skies of Nova Scotia, the earth once again whispered secrets to the determined diggers of the Curse of Oak Island. After over a decade of digging, drilling, and dreaming, the Lagina brothers, Rick and Marty, stood at the edge of history as the results of a new round of scientific analysis were finally revealed. This time, it wasn't just more theories. This time it was gold. Real, tested, and verified. Weeks earlier, during a delicate excavation at the Money Pit, a cluster of small but weighty fragments had been unearthed from over 100 feet below ground. Initial field tests had hinted at something extraordinary, and now, after detailed lab analysis involving X-ray fluorescence, XRF, scanning electron microscopy, SEM, and isotope profiling, the truth was ready to come to light. In the war room, the core team gathered. Rick, with the eyes of a man who'd never stopped believing, Marty, skeptical as ever but undeniably intrigued, Craig Tester, with data sheets in hand, Charles Barkhouse, historian and true believer, and archaeologist Miriam Emerald, wide-eyed with anticipation. Dr. Ian Spooner and Dr. Chris McFarlane, the scientific power duo, were ready to deliver the verdict. "It's not just gold," Dr. McFarlane began, pushing his glasses up the bridge of his nose. It's historic. The room fell silent. Dr. Spooner smiled, nodding toward the monitor. Based on the isotope signature, the trace elements in this gold are consistent with mining sources that would have been in operation in the Iberian Peninsula, specifically Spain, between the 15th and 17th centuries. Spanish gold? Rick asked, barely containing his excitement. Yes, Spooner confirmed. But there's more. The levels of lead isotopes suggest the refining techniques are pre-industrial, hand-forged, likely by artisans familiar with old-world methods. Craig leaned forward, scanning the chemical breakdown. You're saying this isn't a modern contamination? This came down there a long time ago. Dr. McFarlane tapped the table for emphasis. Not only that, but the surrounding sediments show no trace of disturbance in the last 200 years. This gold's been sitting in that cavity for a long, long time. It was a seismic moment. For years, Oak Island has been accused of offering little more than broken dreams and busted drills. But the implications of this analysis couldn't be overstated. If authentic Spanish gold had made its way to the money pit centuries ago, hidden, protected, perhaps even booby-trapped, then the theories long dismissed as fanciful suddenly held water. This might finally tie Oak Island to the Templars, Charles Barkhouse said, unable to contain a grin. Or Spanish navigators, maybe even pirate treasure from Captain Kidd's era. Marty, ever the pragmatist, raised a hand. Before we start engraving plaques, let's focus on one thing. If there's gold here, then we've found proof of intent. Someone put it there, which means what else is still down there? As the team absorbed the magnitude of the discovery, the narrative of Oak Island began to shift before their eyes. No longer a mystery based solely on old legends and circumstantial evidence, the gold fragments provided hard scientific proof that something of value, something deliberately placed, had existed beneath the surface of the money pit. Later that day, as camera crews captured the team returning to the dig site, a renewed energy pulsed through the air. Drilling operations ramped up, core samples were pulled faster, and new sonar scans were ordered. With the Spanish gold sample now verified, the team was determined to identify the source chamber it originated from, and whether more treasure awaited discovery. Marty ordered a 10-foot offset drill hole from the original gold find. Let's triangulate, he instructed, pointing at the grid map. If this is a treasure chamber, it didn't just hold flakes. There's a payload down there, and we're going to find it. Rick agreed, but his approach was more poetic. We've always said this island holds a story, one written in wood, stone, and seawater. Today, we added gold ink to the pages. Soon after, a second analysis arrived. This time it wasn't gold, but fibers found embedded in the same sediment layers. Miriam took the lead.